Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the witnesses for being here. Thank you, Minister, for coming to speak about this important issue. I think Canadians were rightfully concerned when they first heard reports that there were 3 alleged Chinese police stations operating illegally and certainly in violation of Canadian sovereignty in Toronto. So for the committee, can you provide any information of how many of these police, so-called police stations have been and are operating currently in Canada?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Dancho. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And as I said, I embrace the committee's study of it. I would begin by pointing out that we are deeply concerned with regards to any allegations and reports of foreign interference. And as you have seen, there have been public reports of these so-called police stations. I would point out to you that with regards to the details of the investigation, that this is the subject of ongoing initiatives by the RCMP. And with regards to those details, I would invite you to put those questions directly to the Commissioner.
To the Commissioner, can you provide information to Canadians of how many of these alleged so-called police stations are operating in Canada, have operated previously, and if any of them have been shut down?
Thank you for that question. Do I need to turn this?
Yeah, you got it, President.
Thank you for that question. Currently, we're looking at 3 of the police stations in Toronto and 1 in Vancouver. Obviously, we're working with our police of jurisdiction as well as with other Government of Canada national security agencies. We've initiated investigation and it's led by the Greater Toronto Integrated National Security Enforcement Team, INSET. And so far the elements of our investigation have been very overt. Marked police cars in members in uniform to cause disruption to the allegations. We've had that visible presence, and that's mostly so that people will see the actions, first of all, because we need more information. So we hoped, and it did occur when we do this, a lot of people come forward to provide information because they see the police in the area dealing with the allegations. The investigation is ongoing, obviously, and can't get into the various details specifically, but we did put out a statement in, I think, October, November, saying that we were actually investigating reports of possible.
Mm-hmm. So, pardon me. So you can confirm that you know the location of these supposed police stations. Is that correct? And that you have RCMP in uniform at those locations causing disruption? Is that the word used?
Well, in the initial instances, we did a disruption by going in uniform with marked police cars to speak with the people involved in those police stations or those locations, because those locations are a legitimate business in the front, right?
Okay. And can you give a timeline of when you think your investigation will conclude of whether these allegations are true, that these are in fact police stations?
They are lengthy. Normally, they're very lengthy investigations. There's a lot of information coming in that we need to go through, and obviously, like I said, I can't get into specific details, but
has anyone been arrested or deported, or have any credentials of diplomats been revoked in response to these police stations operating in Canada?
No, if any of that had happened, then I could speak more to it if there was any charges laid, but that is not the case.
So no charges laid. Perhaps the minister can comment of whether there's been any diplomatic credentials removed from anyone involved from the PRC.
I would echo the response that you got from the Commissioner, which is to say that if there are any actions which are taken, then the government will share that information when we can.
Okay, so nothing has been shared, therefore we can conclude that no one's been arrested or credentials removed. Is that correct? Okay. My understanding is the RCMP in the past legitimately has had cooperation with the Chinese police. Is that continuing?
We did have 2 liaison officers in China. Now we took them out a couple of years ago. We returned 1 liaison officer back to Beijing, and we work with the Ministry of Public Safety in that country for urgent files of mutual interest, because it's more than just interference. It's a lot of the movement of controlled substances and drugs.
Okay, thank you. Minister, I don't believe anyone from your government, the Prime Minister, any cabinet minister has publicly rebuked the operations of these so-called police stations operating in Canada in clear violation of our sovereignty and international law. Would you like to take this opportunity right now to rebuke the PRC if these so-called police stations are in fact operating on Canadian soil illegally?
Well, I would underline, Ms. Dancho, that the government has always been vigilant and proactive when it comes to highlighting any conduct that runs afoul of Canadian laws and conventions around diplomatic conduct. You've heard the Commissioner just state that in one of her previous interactions with foreign agents from abroad. And we will never apologize, as I said during my remarks, for standing up for the Canadian national interest.
Can you provide just with
Excuse
our
me,
last...
Ms. Dancho, you are practically out of time for now, but
All
you
right,
will
thank
have
you, Mr.
more
Chair.
time later.
Thank you.